Okay, here we are. Holy Ghost documentary. Obviously, you guys know the story of Architects. I do not. I know the guitarist died. That's about it. I know that he was the brother of their drummer, I believe. Um, I know they're from Brighton, which is literally 1 hour away from where I live. In Chichester. So, goddamn, I wish you hadn't fucking requested I react to this, man. I'm not ready to cry in front of you guys just yet. Okay. Ali Pali, London. I used to live near there. I used to live in Finsbury Park. Sorry. Oh man, this is interesting editing.
I guess the biggest lesson I've learned that's repeatedly come to me and actually sort of underpins the whole meaning behind the record is just that you can go through terrible things and come out as a better person at the other end of it, and you can come out as maybe a happier person, or there's growth and evolution in going through those nightmarish situations that
Big true.
befall us all at some point or another, and I think it's kind of just how you deal with it and
Big
how
true.
you face it.
Big true, man.
It was something that I think Tom showed as well a lot. He kind of looked at cancer as kind of a teacher, I guess, in a way. Like it made him a better person, as crazy as that I'm sure sounds to some people. So yeah, I think it's if I'm going to take anything away from the last 18 months, it's just pain is inevitable and sometimes necessary, and some people disagree with it, but if you're not going to use suffering as an opportunity to grow and evolve and become a better person, then what's the point,
Architect's guitarist Tom.
Man, what you said there really resonated, because when I was about 13, my mum was getting married to a chap called Terry, and Terry died of lung cancer, and he'd never smoked or anything in his life. And man, that was it was shit, because I mean they I don't want to bore you with the long story and that, but me and my brothers had never met Terry before. Terry was someone that my mum knew when she was younger. They used to play badminton at the clubs, the local sports club together. Then my mum met my dad and had me and my brothers. My mum and dad got divorced. Met Terry, got together. Died 1 year later, man. 1 year of happiness and then gone. And I think what Dan's saying there about taking something away is that if I were to take anything away from that situation, it would be that it would be that if you were to take anything away from that situation, it would be that there is always something to take away. Just the happiness that he would have brought. You could always think, like, what would Terry have said? What would Terry have done in certain situations? That is something that you could take away. Just his memory. Man, fuck. Sorry, guys.
Tom Searle has died, aged 28.
We've been touring the world for over 10 years.
28, man. I'm fucking 28 on the 13th of June. Fuck, man.
Out 8 albums.
Just like my life.
Tom was the main songwriter. He wrote everything.
But the band are currently unsure about their future.
And I think people would completely understand if we were just to go, we can't do it.
A massive part is just like, oh, we've got to keep this alive for Tom. We've got this massive, like, legacy.
We have been a band for fucking 13 years and 7 albums.
It's really
7
like
albums?
Smoke.
Just that new reality, you know what I mean? I felt protective over Tom's legacy.
I can't think of any situation like it.
You couldn't really think of anything more personal.
His twin brother and Architects co-founder Dan remains the band's drummer.
I can't tell. Oh yeah, just keep. I don't know. Just keep saying. I just want to hear Wales.
Did she just say twin brother?
Initially, after everything happened, we had a tour booked in with Bring Me in Australia, and Dan was like the first person to be like, right, let's go.
It was the right thing to do in the sense that, like, there would be no point in just sitting around and being stationary and just having all these emotions and just kind of general disorientation about everything.
Since the first outing as Architects Without Tom, it was like a massive deal. But it was important.
But it was definitely a very unique time to try and just that new reality, you know what I mean?
And then came home for a couple of weeks and then did a European tour that finished in the UK at Brixton. And pretty much straight after that, maybe within the month after that show, Josh sent me a couple of songs. I sort of took them apart and made them into, you know, that Architect's kind of character. I suppose that was the moment that I realised, oh, okay, well, so we could do something here.
I didn't maybe realise how much I'd learnt from him until we started writing. And I would be like, well, okay, I can do this. I remember doing this. And, you know, the way Dan would give me an idea or the way he would sing it, it would be like, this is so crazy. It's almost like Tom's still here.
Trying to make an album after something like that's happened comes with all sorts of insecurities and all sorts of challenges, but really Dan has kind of pushed everyone through that, and he's pushed himself through it as well.
My brother was the songwriter. He has died and we're carrying on without him, and then I've written the album about that. So it sort of like has engulfed, it engulfed my life, and everything to do with it is about my life. So you couldn't really think of anything more personal.
Then Josh would start sending Dan songs, and then Dan would start reworking them, making them more sort of like architectsy, and then Josh was sort of figuring out the way we worked, and then Dan was managing to like make songs that Tom had left into like 3-minute songs.
I think we all knew in the back of our minds that Josh was going to be playing with us. He came into the fold, he already had material to contribute, and from then on it was, okay, we have a starting point.
You know, Josh was someone who was sort of historically been in and around the band. And yeah, you know, he was someone who spoke at Tom's funeral. He's someone who's close to us, and he's someone that Tom had said he wanted to play with us, so.
We sort of spoke about like a working dynamic, and in Architects it's actually quite refreshing to just write as like loads and loads of stuff and just not have to worry about the agony of like arranging parts. I can give them a song that's like 5.5 minutes long, and then
Man. When you hear them talk about someone and
you can chop it down and just remove bits that he doesn't need.
Who am I to create a song for a band that's been around this long and done this much, and is it the level it's at, you know? It's a high level to start debuting your own material. So yeah, hopefully people don't hate them, because then that would be really sad for me.
To blow my nose. Oh man, they're dating it, aren't they, man? I can just tell they're just dating it up until when he dies, man. It's
including a show at London's Amphitheatre Palace.
Architects drummer Dan Searle tweeted that this
This tour is highly planned on our ambition from the start of this. Frontman Sam said that
Cause when you fade away, it's like a brand new doomsday.
We're at Millennium Studios in Bedford, just on the last day of pre-production for our headline tour. Off to Europe on Wednesday, we start in Zurich, then we've got 8 shows in the mainland, and then we come back over to London to go play Ali Pali. We're basically just rehearsing the set, rehearsing the production, trying to get everything tight before we go and play.
cool.
All right, Fred. Yep. Stage right, this is where the party's at, apparently. Yet to see it. What are you guys up to?
Cab Sims, dude.
Very exciting. Cab impulses. It's a pretty standard backline for us. Besides this monstrosity, which is my new keyboard rig, this is a big part of rehearsal for me, learning how to sort of play that. It's very simple, but yeah, not a keyboard player. The most important part of the show up here.
The machine. I can't possibly see how that's the case, Alex.
You're vital, Fred.
Why?
And up behind him, you'll see what has been referred to as the trampoline. It's for projections, but it does just look like a big trampoline when it's not being used. My stuff and Josh's stuff is over here, and various computers that are doing all sorts of things which I don't understand. But what I will say is it's a growing machine, and it needs to all be tested out and go wrong a few times before we actually perform, so it doesn't all happen there. So that's why it's so important to come and do this.
Some of those nights in Europe, in fact, every night of that tour, was ridiculous. It was like, I remember we walked into the venue in Prague and I stood on stage. I was just looking out, just like, how has this band got to this level? How are we playing venues this size?
Because you're fucking sick,
Everything
man.
this band has been doing, considering what our style of music is like, seems surprising to me.
Some of the
And
best
it
music
seems-
I've heard.
I don't know. I like to think that the band has a lot more to it than the surface value of being an aggressive metal band. There's a lot of values that the band holds.
What we've
Big
done
true.
a lot on this album is stand on stage in front of thousands of people and cry as men, and that's been
Big
important.
true.
And it does tie into the record. You know, having these big collective experiences that create this sense of unity that's really absent in our society. You know, allowing people to be real. You know, strangers crying with each other, and that was a big thing.
I fucking couldn't put it better. Just get up there and try as men.
I've heard a lot around Ali Pali. It was just strangers hugging each other and people were able to cry. And yeah, they're crying for Tom, but they've probably lost people in their lives that they're not really they haven't really dealt with it fully, and they haven't been able to express that fully, and it's kind of been like a forum for those people to get together because they haven't had a chance to do that publicly, and I think that's a really important thing that needs to be addressed.
You know, there's obviously there's a story to the band, and I think people are invested in us as a group of people as well now. So it's not just about like, oh, this album's cool, let's go and see this band live. It's more about like, I don't know, it feels like people want us to do well, and I feel like that translates to us being able to sell out Ali Pali.
Playing Ali Pali was, I found that a bit overwhelming actually, going from playing to 3,000 or 4,000 people. When you then jump to 10,000 people, it's like such a massive jump still. And if we were playing to 10,000 people every night, it would feel like nothing, you know. But it's that jump.
It felt like a big roll of the dice, and the way that people reacted to it once we announced it, and the way that, I don't know, it felt almost kind of not real in the sense that it's quite a difficult thing to process because it was such a big occasion for us, and it was such like a...
Man, that's the kind of fucking exposing sort of truth that comes with being a fucking human. You know? Sense of humanity. Man, they're just regular guys. They're just regular guys.
I don't know, it felt like such a leap from everything we had done before.
Tom would not have comprehended what this would have become. He wouldn't have comprehended Brixton either. It's just it's really hard to kind of wrap your head around for a metal band like us to even have anything remotely like this.
Ali Pali was strange for me because it was like you waited so long for it, and then you get to the day and you're like, how has this been sold out? You're walking around the venue and walking in just like, you wait months for it to happen and then it's there.
Shit, man, I'm nervous for them.
Thank you for making this such a perfect evening for us. I hope you felt every bit of energy that you've given us come back to you. If you know the words to this song, sing it for Tom. And sing it as loud as you fucking can. Gone with the wind.
Oh man, it's gone with the wind.
The weight of my world is resting on midnight. When the sun is gone, where I find paradise. I got rings and death, left to reflect. What a waste of time, I was erect from back. Sing a name of pain, but I never find you. In the end of death now.
Fucking can, man.
I got something to say. When my brother was sick, I used to think a lot about this, about being here, specifically behind the stage with my brother, telling him I couldn't believe that we were here. I couldn't believe that we were playing this place, and he was better. It's at least 50% proof that manifestation is true, because at least his music is here, we are here, and you guys made it possible. So I want to thank you sincerely for being here, because it means everything to us. We have been a band for fucking 13 years and 7 albums. And on behalf of Tom, I would like to say thank you. Because he would be tearing up looking at 10,000 people here to see us play his songs.
It's a lot of people.
He would not fucking believe it.
Sorry, guys. I've got brothers, man. Can't press spacebar, dude. Fucking those lyrics, man. Fucking voice. Fuck me.
Him having a kid is so cool. It's so lovely that out of something so dull can come something so amazing with him and his wife.
He had a kid,
I
man.
think, yeah, he's the sole reason this album happened. Him and
Fuck,
Tom,
dude.
and him wanting to do Tom proud. And I think everything that we had learned from touring with those two, the rest of us, it was like, whatever you need, we'll go. I think Tom would be really proud of all of us, but Dan in particular.
Oh my god. That's really fucking tough, man. Thank you for the recommendation. Oh, I'll see you on the next one, I guess. Fuck me.